Hello everyone, just take a look at this. You would not believe what happened to my very large Napa aka Maxi Trac air compressor. You know, the one that's sold under different brand names like Moreflate 10.6, EasyFlate, Moab, Alltop, Torres Lighting, and many more. They all come from the same factory with the same form factor. Sure, maybe a slight modification here or there, different color, hoses, or branding, but essentially the same. Well, I think I figured out what happened to mine. Let me show you something.
I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this.
You're about to witness 10.6 CFM twin-cylinder air compressor history for airing up a Jeep Wrangler.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do you hear that? That sound is coming from under the hood of my Jeep. That's right, it's mounted under the hood of my Jeep. No more hauling it around or finding a place to set it up. Today I'm going to show you step by step on how I did this, including how to control it with a remote. On a cold day like today, you can sit inside your Jeep, monitor the TPMS gauge, and turn the compressor on and off. Now, I've seen plenty of ARB twin compressors mounted under the hood of Jeeps. Don't get me wrong, they're fantastic quality. I'd love to own one someday. But let's be real, the Napa air compressor is at least twice as fast. And while the ARB costs $600, this one only cost me $120 over a year ago. I will say though, I'm holding out for something new, a compressor with a brushless motor, and that would be a game changer when it happens. Stick around and I'll show you exactly how I install this compressor. Before doing that, let's take a look at the final product under the hood. Okay, here's the compressor mounted under the hood. As you can see, we have a quick disconnect, and I'll also install a rocker switch to turn it off manually and just to have a cutoff switch, as well as being able to do it remotely. So I've installed stainless steel air hose for basically heat dissipation. And so it's looking pretty good. It fits well. I'll show another video, but basically if you're wondering how much space you have from the top here to the hood when it's closed, it's gonna be over an inch. It's more likely one and a quarter inch, maybe possibly 2 inches. And I'll show you how I did that in the other video. So basically I pushed the handle up and I measured the distance from the top of the air compressor to the top of the handle. So as you can see here, the distance is at least 1 and a quarter inches or more. I then mounted the air compressor under the hood. I then closed the hood with the handle up. Taking a peek under the hood, I don't see any clearance issues, and approximately 1 and a quarter to 1.5 inches of space between the air compressor and the hood when it is fully closed. I will need some 3M or Gorilla double-sided tape with that has like a little foam. And the main reason why I want to use this is for its anti-vibration characteristics. I have some wiring left over. So these are one out wiring. Is pretty, as you can see, it's pretty thick wire. It's probably overkill. We're going to use True Blue thread sealant. We're going to use an 18-inch stainless steel braided hose. I have some 4-inch hex bolts here that we're going to use. I'm going to use 4 of them to mount the air compressor to the mount. I also bought you actually need one, but 2 1/2-inch washers, large washers from Home Depot. I also have bought a switch, a rocker switch, and I'm going to mount that to here so I can manually turn off and turn on power to the air compressor here. I have the 813 mount itself. that comes with these two pieces along with some hardware that I'm going to use. And I've also bought a battery disconnect kit. So I'm actually not going to use it to disconnect the battery of the car. I'm going to reconfigure it and use it to remotely turn on the air compressor on and off. And the reason. So right here, there used to be a bracket. And back, I believe in 22, they stopped putting this bracket over here. And here's the piece. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put that right there. And that'll give us a surface to mount what we need for the compressor. There are 4 bolts or screws that are mounting this to this plate here. 2 on this side and 2 on this side. So let's go ahead and take these off. Remove the bolts from the mounting bracket that connects it to this base plate. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount this to this plate here horizontally. To do so, we're gonna take this bracket, remove it, and then mount it horizontally in this position. So we're gonna use the same bracket to mount to this plate. Here's the bracket I removed, and I just need to trim it a little bit on this side here because it doesn't quite go in because of this. I'll get the Dremel out and trim it a bit, and then it should be no problem. Okay, so I trimmed this side, and that's fine now. And I did have to trim a little bit from here and here, and I'll show you why. So here's what I used for the Dremel, and it worked actually quite well, and it didn't take long at all. So I'm just gonna do a little bit more of trimming here. And so here's why I had to trim also from over here and that side. It's because of this protrusion over here. And now everything lines up. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other bracket. I'm going to mount it. I'm going to utilize these 2 holes here, and then I'm going to have to drill a hole here and here. So if you take this, put it here, I can utilize this one over here and over here. And then I just have to drill a hole right here and here. Okay, so this hole's done. Let's check and make sure. To take off this cover, basically there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that you have to remove, and you just can use a Phillips to remove it. So The other two are right here. And then this thing slides off. Okay. All right, do point of no return. Cut this wire off. All right. Okay, so the red wire coming out of the air compressor is a 7-gauge wire. I have a 4-gauge wire, and as you can see, this is a lot thicker than the 7-gauge wire. So to connect this connector, you can see this is going to be a little bit too small for it. This is for a 4-gauge. So what we're going to do is you can take, actually, there's a little trick I have here. You can take just an 18-gauge wire, strip it, and then take the copper out of it, and just, you can go ahead and just wrap it around here. And this way, when you crimp it on, it's going to be nice and tight. So then we'll put on the kit. Next, we're going to remove this handle because it's just taking space, and when we mount it, we don't need it. So we need a 5mm hex bit. There's 4 bolts on top of each cylinder, and we're going to need to remove those to take this off and to take off these brackets on top. Once you remove the 4 bolts, this will just come right off, and so you can just take this off, turning it, and then you can take this bracket right off. Okay, next we're going to turn this manifold so the hole is facing up like this, and you'll see why when we mount the compressor. It's just a better orientation when you put it in the Jeep. And the original Napa compressor came with a hose like this, and you basically can use a wrench just to twist it off. Okay. And to change the orientation, we'll just take a wrench and just turn it. Next, we're going to mount the relay. And when you get the relay, if you get the same one I have, which has the RF connection, there's a little jumper cable like this that you need to remove if you're going to use a physical switch, and I can show you later why that is, but for now we're just going to remove that. And we're gonna use one of these existing holes. There's 4 on each side to just take a normal, I don't know what size this is, but I found one that fits. And so I'm just gonna use that and mount it on here. And I'm just gonna angle it sort of this way because all the wiring is on this side. We'll just leave it loose in here and we can tighten it up later. Okay. So now here we have access to all the wires going into the compressor. Next, we're going to put the pipe fittings in on here. Initially, this was a 1/8 inch hole, and I drilled and made the hole bigger to 1/4 inch. If you want to see what I did there, just look at my other video. But so I have a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch male NPT that I'm gonna put on here. And then I have a T connector here that'll go on next. And then I will put on the 1/4 inch NPT coupler for quick connect and disconnect. So that'll just go on here, over here. And I have a pressure switch that comes on at 90 PSI and goes off at 120 PSI. And that goes onto here. And we'll go ahead and connect these wires later. And I will be using the True Blue pipe tread sealant. All right. Next, we're going to connect the stainless steel hose. We're going to connect the negative or the black cable coming out of the compressor to this post right here on the relay. And this is marked 87. Okay, so we're going to strip. Okay. So post number 30 on the relay is going to go to the negative terminal on the battery in the car. And so once the relay is activated, these two are not connected. So the cable coming out of the wire coming out of the compressor is open. But once we turn the compressor on and the relay activates, it connects it to this post, which goes to the negative in the battery. Okay, before mounting the compressor, we're going to use this 3M double-sided tape, VHB tape. And these twin compressors, which are piston driven, are basically low frequency, high amplitude in terms of vibrations. So really the best material to use that is this material that happens to come with the 3M tape, the VHB. And basically we're going to use, it's 0.04 inches in thickness. So we're probably going to use 3 layers. That'll give us about 1/8 of an inch. And that should, really for this, the frequency is probably between 20 to 40 hertz. And the amplitude could be up to 0.5 to 1.5 millimeters. So this is going to be perfect for reducing vibration as far as material. So we're just going to put 3 layers here, and then we're going to mount it here. Okay. And that actually should give us hopefully between 20 to 40%, probably more like 30% reduction in vibration. And the more layers we put on, obviously, the better result we're going to get. But I think an 1/8 of an inch should be fine. One thing about this 3M tape, it's really hard to get the second layer off, especially if you don't have any fingernails like I do. So just trying to get this pinkled off. And we're going to do the same thing on this bracket here. Okay, we have 3 layers of the 3M VHB tape on here. So that it will give us about an 1/8 of an inch thickness. Let's go ahead and put the bolts in. So the other nice thing about using this tape is because of the stickiness here, it'll hold these screws in place for us. So that's another benefit. And we'll just put when we mount it, we're just going to use these locking nuts that are also nylon threaded. So that will also help with vibration addition to making it nice and tight. Okay. Okay. There we go. Next, we're going to mount this bracket right over here. I'm just utilizing these 2 holes. Okay, next I'm going to use the 1/2 inch washer here and put it on this side of the stainless air hose and just feed it through here. And I have a 1/4 inch quick disconnect connect coupler. Next, we have this switch, rocker switch we're going to install onto here. Okay, now let's go ahead and wire everything up. First, we're going to connect the pressure switch. So we're going to have terminal 30 right here on the relay. Go to one of the connectors here first. Okay, so we've connected terminal 30 here to one of the connectors here to the pressure switch. We're going to connect the other terminal on the pressure switch to this terminal here is number 2 on the rocker switch, which is the power end. Next, we're going to take the terminal 3 on the rocker switch, and we're going to connect it to the terminal here on the relay marked 86. So the output's going to come to the 86 here. Terminal 3 to terminal 86 on the relay. Okay, terminal 7 on the switch, which is the LED in the front, is going to be connected to terminal 30 on the relay. Okay, we'll go ahead and tighten these all up. All our connections are nice and tight. So we're just going to connect the red cables here, red wires, to the positive battery on the Jeep. So the big ones comes from the air compressor and goes to the battery, and this comes from the relay to power the relay and goes to the positive on the battery. And then we have the negative, or the black, coming from terminal 30, and that goes to the negative on the battery on the Jeep. Okay, here's the final product. Everything wired up, hooked up. So we're ready to hook everything up to the car. One thing I did here with the Jeep was I put these 3M tape right here for its anti-vibration, as well as on here, and the rubber ring on top here to help with any kind of vibration. Okay, so let's mount this thing up. Okay, so on top here I have another plastic, or not plastic, but rubber washer, as well as a stainless steel washer on top of that, and a locking nut. And now I'm going to tighten it up here. All right, let's take a look at our mount. So it's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's test it out. Here's the plan. We'll drop all 4 tires to 15 psi, run the air compressor for 4 minutes to get back to 37 psi. Let's see how it does. We're back at 15. Okay, let's turn the Jeep on. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 yeah.
hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range.
Thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got lots of fun, interesting projects coming up, and your support really keeps me going. Thank you.